Welcome to our presentation. Today we're going to present the topic cooperative learning. So first, let me ask, what is cooperative learning? According to Petty, cooperative learning is the name given to a clutch of special teaching methods that are structured to achieve specific characteristics thought to enhance learning. What all these methods have in common is that students work together to accomplish shared goals in order to gain deeper understanding. Students know that they are going to be assessed on the content. It can be a quiz, or they may simply know that they should be ready to explain the group findings after the activity. At the end, there is always a group evaluation. Cooperative learning may be contrasted with individualistic learning, which means that students work by themselves to accomplish learning goals unrelated to those of the other students, and competitive learning, which means that students work against each other to achieve an academic goal, such as a grade of A, that only one or a few students can attain. In the chapter on top teaching methods, Petty presents 4 different cooperative learning methods. Jigsaw, which we are going to explain in this presentation, Jigsaw with spectacles, which is slightly different to the first method, Academic controversy, and Learning together. You can find the descriptions of these methods on pages 146 to 152 in the Petty reading. However, many more exist, as for example, think, pair, share, or co-op. Let's have a look at the most popular method, the jigsaw. First, you need a topic, which you divide into 5 subtopics. Then you divide the students into 5 groups. Let's say we have a class with 20 students. This means that we have to form groups of 4. Each group studies one subtopic. You provide the material. You can use handouts, videos, drawings, or other resources. After about 10 minutes, the students in each group number themselves 1, 2, 3, and 4. All the 1s go to one table, all the 2s, all the 3s, and all the 4s. The new groups now form a jigsaw of random social composition, which contains one student expert on each of the 5 subtopics. In jigsaw groups, students teach each other their subtopic covering all the key points. They complete a combined task, which requires knowledge of all the subtopics. The groups present their ideas for the combined task, and you as a teacher debrief the whole class on this. Students, still in jigsaw groups, prepare for a quiz on the key points, led by a member of their group. They are given the challenge to ensure that each member of their group gets a minimum of, let's say, 7 out of 10 in the test. Students then complete the very short quiz individually and mark their own papers. Afterwards, each group asks itself, in what ways did our group work well together, and in what way could we have done better? You debrief the class on the group goals. Remind your students of these before the next cooperative learning activity. Also keep in mind that the jigsaw method can work with classes of any size. If the class cannot be divided evenly, you can either put 2 experts in one group who share the explaining of their subtopic, or make smaller groups which you visit during the jigsaw activity to explain the missing topic. Let's move on to an example. We teach a third grade and would like to introduce fairy tales. After the introductory lesson, the students should have knowledge about the characteristics of fairy tales and about tenses and phrases which are helpful for writing their own stories. We decide to use the jigsaw method and therefore divide our topic into 5 subtopics: Beauty and the Beast, Little Red Riding Hood, The Frog King, Cinderella, and Snow White. Each group gets one story and a few questions in order to guide them through the learning process. After 10 minutes, jigsaw groups are formed and the students work on the combined task. They should ask themselves, in which ways are the fairy tales similar to each other? They should consider the author, the characters, the plot, the tenses, and the phrases. They present their findings to the class. Then they create the short quiz, which they then take individually and mark themselves. At the end, they evaluate how they have worked together as a group.
Now I want to explain why this method works. One advantage of cooperative learning is that students can help each other in their groups to learn and to understand different topics. They also work together interactively. Discussions in peer groups are very constructive, and peer pressure helps the students to stay motivated to learn. This method also creates a very positive classroom atmosphere. It is also helpful that cooperative learning can be seen as a type of competition, but this should not be the main goal. Students are motivated to do better than the other groups, and this goal encourages them to learn harder. Working in groups can help the students to learn how to work cooperatively by showing them how well they can solve a task as a team. But don't forget the feedback. Sometimes it is easier for students to understand a topic better if a colleague explains it in their own words rather than the teacher. Some students are too shy to ask questions, and instead of simply asking the teacher, they remain silent and still do not understand what the teacher said. If they work together in groups, the inhibition threshold sinks more compared to working with a teacher. It can also increase their self-esteem. Cooperative learning enables students to work in teams, and they can identify the weakest member of their groups and can support them to improve the group knowledge. But cooperative learning, on the other hand, is very challenging for some students. For some pupils, it is hard to explain a topic in their own words. Try peer explaining before using a jigsaw. According to Petty, cooperative learning should be a main plank in an equal opportunities policy. Thank you for your attention.